Hey, what's up? Hello, I hope you all are doing well. I am so excited to be back and actually filming things for the first time probably since March of last year. You know when life catches up with you and you really start feeling like you need to slow down and step back from things? That was 2025 for me. So I did make my reading goal of reading 45 books, but I did not make as much time as I could have and did not have as much time as I should have to dedicate to telling everyone about it. Horrible. So I thought that I would sum up my reading year over the last year in just 5 minutes. So this is 2025 in 5 minutes. 2 books out of every quarter that I enjoyed the most. Number 1, Say Hello to My Little Friend by Janine Capo Crissette. And that I read for one of my first books of the year in January. It is not for the faint of heart. It is deeply emotional, discusses a lot of different struggles, particularly that of the main character and this pod of orcas. Highly, highly recommend. Janine Capo Crissette is one of my favorite literary fiction writers. If you are into a fictional story that is very unusual, takes a lot of wild turns, this is absolutely a book you should read. Also in quarter 1 was The Survivalist by Kanasha Kali. It's about a high-powered lawyer who is a Black woman in New York City, and she is really trying to climb the ladder at this law firm but starts dating this man, and he and his roommates wind up being preppers. So when she moves in with him and finds all of this out, their coffee company is actually kind of a front for them being preppers for the end of the world. It gets deeply gripping in a way that isn't exactly scary. Like there's some thematic scary stuff that goes on in this book, but it is more just psychologically gripping than anything else, which isn't normally something I would choose to read. But this was engaging in a way that didn't make me feel like I was terrified. I also listened to the audiobook, which gave it a little bit of a higher tension, and I would recommend that to pretty much everyone. In quarter 2, we had Harlem Rhapsody by Victoria Christopher Murray. I am really fortunate that I got to see the author speak about this book around the time that it was released. This is the story of Jessie Redmond Fawcett, who was the literary editor of The Crisis, the NAACP's literary magazine. This particular woman and her kind of behind the scenes role of shaping the path of the Harlem Renaissance and all the wonderful literature that came out of that. W.E. Du Bois makes a very strong appearance in this book. It has upset a lot of people the way that he is written about in this novel. So go forward with caution should you choose to read it. It's a wonderful, wonderful story, really eye-opening, spotlights another woman who has kind of been lost to history in many ways because other people have been given greater precedence than those people have been men. Also in quarter 2, There Are Rivers in the Sky by Elif Shafak. This is the author of The Island of Missing Trees, and this particular book follows a drop of water and the characters surrounding that drop of water, all the way from Nineveh in ancient Mesopotamia to Turkey and modern-day London and 1840s London, and how it flows along the river Tigris and really brings light to the Yazidi people. Dense literary fiction book, very intricate, lots of relationships to follow, like one of those things you have to make a chart of all the characters, but very moving. A lot of books that I read this year that I liked were like very deeply emotionally moving. And another great historical fiction book that I think introduces a lot of people to a lot of other peoples that they're unfamiliar with. So if you're trying to read a little bit more of a wider scope this year and encounter stories of people that you don't generally, but highly recommend this book. Really big tonal shift in quarter 3 when I got to Silverborn, The Mystery of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This book was delayed in publication for many, many years. BookTube knows about Morrigan Crow and Nevermore. This is the 4th book in that series. It did not disappoint. This felt like Jessica Townsend wanted to write a mystery novel and wanted to continue the Morrigan Crow series and wanted to put them together, and it totally worked for me. The moment that I finished it, I wanted to close the book and reopen it and read it again. If you are not reading this series and you like middle grade, what are you doing with your life? Also in quarter 3 was Thistlefoot by Jenna Rose Nethercott. This is a Baba Yaga myth retelling about the house on chicken legs. And honestly, I wanted to like this more. I felt I was the only person outside of the book or even in the book who was rooting for one of the main characters and was devastated every time someone committed a slight against him. The story is dark. It is it's not really a heist. It's a little bit of like an adventure chase type of deal. And there's people grappling with their pasts and who they are, and what it means to be a brother and what it means to be a sister. Honestly, I think my review on Goodreads probably summed this book up for me better than I could ever do it extemporaneously, so I'm just going to read it to you. On the back of the book, Lemony Snicket generously refers to this story as rollicking. Sadly, any rollick I experienced was repeatedly interrupted by Bellatine's angsty reflections on her teenage experience. Frozen wasn't rollicking, and neither were the reverse Elsa-like flashbacks of Bellatine's plight. To end the year, I powered through a ton of contemporary romance books because I realized that I had slipped so far from my reading goal that I had to read like 8 or 9 books in the last 2 weeks of the year in order for me to make it. Those were not the 2 books that stood out the most for me. During November, I read The Mighty Red by Louise Erdrich. How that woman is still pumping out books after like 20 years, I don't know, because they're all still very good. That woman does not disappoint. This is once again a deeply moving. 2025 was a year for like way too much emotionality, I think, on the whole, for a lot of people, particularly for me. This story of Kismet in 2008-2009, living with her mother and trying to make her way through a lot of teenage and a lot of very adult choices in the 2008-2009 economic downturn. This story does have like a follow-through heist moment at many turns in the midst of a lot of people making really bad decisions for themselves and not being able to commit to finding a way out. So if you're not really interested in the A plot, the B plot will kind of tug you along a little bit. But this is also not a book where you're going to get into it and discover that you like a lot of these characters. There are going to be a lot of people who you really do not like and that you really have to like dig deep to try to root for. The writing is classic to this author's tone. There's a lot of mentions to the indigenous community and the importance therein in that part of the United States that she's writing for, and a really wonderful coming-of-age piece set against the backdrop of a really hard time that wasn't all that long ago. And finally, I ended the year in December reading The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. I feel like I'm one of the last people to read this book, but I saw both The Poptimist and Rincey Reads talk about it before I picked it out to read for book club, and I've never been really able to go wrong when they make a recommendation, so I of course really enjoyed it. I again listened and read both in part. The audio narration of this book is so atmospheric. The difference between each of the perspectives is really clear, and there's not a lot that I can say about this book that is going to be any more insightful or profound than others who have already reviewed it closer to the time of its release. But if you're on the fence about reading this, definitely give it a try. The only qualms that I had with it came sort of at the end. A lot of people in my book club felt that the ending did not match the rest of the book, and I would agree. Was it enough for me to take off a star? Not so much. The writing is lyrical, as I mentioned, atmospheric, very evocative of emotion. This is not a book. I mean, you can really say that books are intending to evoke emotions. Like, is that the premise of literature? Sure. And some of them do it more deeply than others and really make you feel for what's going on. But this was a book that let me think about it for days and days and days afterward, which I think is the mark of something that is more sticky and a little bit deeper than other stuff out there. If you've read any of these books, I invite you to let me know in the comments. Hopefully I will be more present here this coming year, and hopefully this year improves for pretty much everyone. If you want to know anything about us, the information is probably in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having lovely weeks and lovely lives, and we'll see you very soon.